From the Hindu Kush to the Rockies. A journey from Kabul to Colorado in community-led transformation. A memoir of resilience, advocacy, and transformation by Homayun Milad. Episode 38, Building Bridges in New Land. One of the most profound realizations in my journey from Afghanistan to Colorado has been witnessing how the fundamental principles of community engagement transcend geographical and cultural boundaries. Drawing upon my experience of establishing community development councils in Afghanistan's diverse landscapes, from the valleys of Hindu Kush to the plains of Herat, I found myself crafting a similar tapestry of community support in my new home beneath the Rockies. The transition from mobilizing Afghan villages to engaging Colorado communities revealed striking parallels. In Afghanistan, I had witnessed how villages would instinctively come together to support families in need, creating networks of mutual support that strengthened the entire community. Now, in Colorado, I saw this same spirit of collective care emerge as local community members stepped forward to walk alongside newcomers, providing both practical assistance and emotional support. The faces and landscapes might have changed, but the human capacity for compassion and connection remained constant. My years of establishing district development assemblies across Afghanistan's varied terrain had taught me the delicate art of bringing diverse voices together. This experience proved invaluable as I worked to create balanced support teams in Colorado. Just as we had carefully considered local dynamics and individual strengths when forming those assemblies in Afghan villages, I now found myself applying these same principles to build holistic support systems that could address the complex needs of refugee families. The process of community mobilization, whether in the remote valleys of Afghanistan or the urban centers of Colorado, always begins with understanding. In Afghanistan, we had learned that building bridges of comprehension was the essential first step toward meaningful action. Now, in Colorado, I developed comprehensive educational sessions that helped potential supporters understand the broader context of refugee experiences, much like the community dialogues we had facilitated in Afghan villages. Training these support groups became a powerful reminder of my work with grassroots social peacebuilding groups in Afghanistan. The emphasis on cultural sensitivity, boundary setting, and empowerment, rather than direction, echoed the approaches we had developed in Afghan communities. Each training session brought back memories of similar conversations held in village gatherings, where we had discussed supporting vulnerable community members while preserving their dignity and autonomy. This understanding led me to develop broader community outreach strategies and advocacy initiatives in Colorado. The Colorado Refugee Advocacy Day emerged as a powerful platform for structured dialogue between community members, elected officials, and those we serve. Reminiscent of how we had once created spaces for village voices to reach district and provincial authorities in Afghanistan. My experience in managing complex development programs across Afghanistan's varied landscapes proved invaluable in designing volunteer and intern engagement programs in Colorado. The careful attention to cultural dynamics that had been crucial in navigating Afghanistan's diverse regions now informed how we prepared volunteers to engage effectively with the communities they served. What makes this work particularly meaningful is seeing how it creates ripple effects throughout the community. When volunteers become deeply engaged in supporting others, they often transform into powerful advocates themselves, sharing their experiences and inspiring others to get involved. This organic growth of community support reminds me of how village-level initiatives in Afghanistan would naturally spread to neighboring communities, creating expanding networks of positive change. Through these parallel experiences, I've come to understand that effective community engagement is both an art and a science. The lessons learned from establishing development assemblies in Afghanistan about building trust, fostering leadership, and creating sustainable systems continue to guide my work in strengthening community support networks in Colorado. The art lies in understanding the subtle dynamics of human relationships, how to nurture trust in ways that honor local wisdom while encouraging growth. In Afghanistan, this meant respecting traditional leadership structures while gradually introducing new voices into community dialogues. In Colorado, it means recognizing the inherent strengths of communities while creating platforms for emerging leaders to shape their collective future. Whether in remote Afghan villages or urban Colorado neighborhoods, the fundamental principle remains: authentic community engagement must grow from within, guided by local voices and validated by local experience. The science manifests in the structured approaches to community mobilization. the careful mapping of community assets, the strategic planning of initiatives, and the systematic evaluation of outcomes. Just as we had developed methodical approaches to establishing district development assemblies across Afghanistan's diverse regions, I now apply similar analytical rigor to building sustainable support networks in Colorado. This includes understanding demographic patterns, identifying community resources, and creating measurable indicators of progress that reflect real community needs and aspirations. What makes this work particularly powerful is the synthesis of these artistic and scientific elements. When careful planning meets genuine human connection, when strategic thinking aligns with cultural sensitivity, we create the conditions for lasting change. I've seen this synthesis at work in both contexts. Whether it was watching a traditional Afghan council embrace new approaches to community development, or seeing Colorado volunteers transform into passionate advocates for community causes, the sustainability of community initiatives depends on this delicate balance. In Afghanistan, we learned that the most enduring programs were those that combined clear structural frameworks with deep respect for local cultural practices. Now, in Colorado, I find myself applying this same principle, creating systems that are robust enough to provide consistent support while remaining flexible enough to adapt to changing community needs. Leadership development, another crucial lesson from Afghanistan, takes on new meaning in the Colorado context. Just as we had worked to identify and nurture local leaders in Afghan villages, recognizing that sustainable change requires local champions, I now focus on empowering community members to become agents of change in their own right. This process of leadership cultivation, though different in its specifics, follows the same core principles of recognition, support, and gradual capacity building. Perhaps most importantly, these experiences have taught me that effective community engagement requires patience and persistence. Change doesn't happen overnight, whether in the valleys of the Hindu Kush or the neighborhoods of Colorado. It grows through consistent effort, through small victories and learned lessons, through relationships built and trust earned over time. This understanding helps me maintain perspective in my current work, recognizing that each small step forward contributes to larger, lasting transformations. The parallels between these contexts continue to inform and enrich my approach to community building. While the specific challenges and opportunities may differ, the fundamental principles of effective engagement remain constant. Respect for local wisdom, commitment to inclusive dialogue, strategic planning for sustainability, and unwavering faith in the power of communities to shape their own destiny. As I continue this work in Colorado, I carry with me not just the lessons from Afghanistan, but a deeper understanding of how community engagement, when practiced as both an art and a science, can create lasting positive change in any context. We'll continue this story in the next episode, so stay tuned.